evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beard Blather 180. Hyper-Exaggerations, which is kind of like, let me see, I'm trying to decide whether it is a tautology or a pleonasm, but we're going to figure that out uh, uh, in a couple of seconds. I think it's a tautology. If it was a phrase, it would be a pleonasm, but hey, who's counting? There might be two people watching us who know what I'm talking about. This is Saul Montes-Bradley, the largest human repository of useless information from my golden cage in Florida, and Thomas Wictor, the only living expert in World War One flamethrowers from Californication, because everybody in Cali is being fornicated by Gruesome. And we're going to get into the details of that in a second. In the meantime, a little house cleaning. We are going out. We're starting this show on Odyssey, Twitter. Now, X is the X Twitter. God, it's so ridiculous. We'll talk about that too. And YouBoob. In YouBoob, we're going to cut it off sooner rather than later because, hey, those people are even more arbitrary than the bluebird, so we don't like it. But on the description in YouBoob, you have the link to come and continue watching this show in Odyssey. If you want to participate in the chat, you have to come to Odyssey. There is no recourse, and you are welcome, of course, to leave comments in Twitter, in YouBoob as well, but participation in the chat can only be done through Odyssey. Once you come to Odyssey, please click on subscription and notifications. There's a little bell next to subscriptions so that you can follow us and get notifications when we go on air. And if you find it in your heart, join us as a member of the channel. Is the lowest rung is $2.50 per week. Frankly, a bargain. You cannot even buy a Biden with $2.50. And at all times, feel free to click on support. And, this is equivalent to YouBoob's power chat. And in that way, you can put something in the tip jar. Or, if all else fails, quadverum.com/support us to keep both SQV and this channel going. And now that I have shamelessly asked for your money, come on, please put something in there. We can proceed with the program on a regular fashion. First, the pleonasm. Hyper-exaggerations. Of course, hyper-exaggeration. It's kind of a repetition, but it is valid because we're not talking about normal exaggerations. We're talking about people going way overboard, like claiming that my missiles defy the laws of physics, or my missiles actually exist, that there is absolutely no fucking proof there is anything, or that we have already occupied all of country A, when in fact we're still holding on to the same piece of land we conquered a year ago and barely. There is a lot of claims everywhere about every subject, and we will try to touch upon some of them. But first, how are you doing in Californication, Thomas?
I'm doing okay. I've been working out for, I guess, about a month, so I figured I was ready to take on weeding again, and I discovered that I wasn't doing the right exercises. So now I'm crippled from muscle pain. I have succulent beds, and the spider grass, the centipede grass, grows in the middle of the succulent bed, and so I have to use a contortionist move to get over. And since you can't really bend down, I have to hold myself up with I have a hoe that the head fell off, and it's got a wooden handle, so I hold the long handle I lean down and pull all the weeds out. And after a couple of days of doing that, I could barely walk. So I figured out the movements that I need to duplicate in order to continue weeding in the future. Because this, as you know, this stuff will always come back.
Oh,
Uh,
always.
but got rid of more roots than I expected, and this grass, the roots go down this deep, and they're this stuff is horrifying. And my father insisted on planting it, despite the fact that it's a very thirsty grass, and it went everywhere like cancer. And eventually he gave up, and he told Tim that Tim needs to you have to take care of the yard now. Tim said, "Well, I told you not to plant that stuff." And he just kind of went, "Did you? Huh, interesting. I don't remember." It's like,
Well, of course not.
but yeah, so we are paying for the fact that this grass is still around. And I let me tell you, I hate lawns now. I hate lawns.
Yeah.
I'm definitely leaving this state sooner rather than later. And where I go, I'm going to go somewhere where I don't have to have a lawn, not an apartment building, because I'm not going to live with neighbors
No, no,
on
you
either.
wouldn't survive a week.
I wouldn't survive a week. Um, I've discovered a new YouTube channel called People Who Did Too Much, and it's nothing but videos of America's drug addicts. And all I need is for someone to set their apartment on fire and have all the sprinklers go on and ruin my entire paper collection. So,
Yes.
um,
Not to mention the fact, of the day you arrive home at noontime and your neighbor from Russia is boiling fish.
boiling fish, or maybe I have someone who parties all night and sleeps all day, and
Oh
so
yeah.
there's
Can
no
can
way.
you imagine your current neighbors on the apartment next door with
Well,
cardboard walls?
this is the thing, or fights, endless screaming fights. I watched a lot of police videos and domestic disturbances. Um, my parents never loudly fought. So this thing where it's like you fight in screaming and in fisticuffs on a daily basis, so that the cops have to keep coming out and coming out and coming
Yeah.
out. And you never know if this is the event where they're both going to turn on you with their guns or whatever.
Well,
So
any cop would tell you that the most dangerous call they have to answer any
is it?
day is a domestic disturbance.
Yep. And so wherever I end up, it's going to be one of three states. I'll probably just go to Nevada, um, but I don't think Vegas. Maybe,
Watch out! Nevada is haunted by the ghost of Harry Reid.
yeah, and okay, it's going to be. It's not going to be a bright red state, but except for, let's see, Washington, Oregon, and New York, all states are redder than California. California
Yeah,
is, about as deep blue as you can get. And, so I just need to get out of this state because,
yeah. Just make sure you don't go to Massachusetts either.
no, I mean, or Minnesota, I have multiple leftist brothers, and I think my sister's leftist. I don't know. She lives in El Paso, but one lives in Minnesota and one lives in New York City, and both those where they live are nightmares of crime and drugs and lawlessness and all that. But they're happy because at least there aren't any conservatives around. So I'm I'm
Yeah,
I'm going to go
but
somewhere.
but but have you noticed that all of these leftard assholes who have been campaigning against weapons, because weapons are a thing of the devil, uh, for 30, 40, 50 years, now own weapons.
Yeah, this is
And
the
and they finally decided they got to have the 38 at home
yeah,
because it's getting crazy out there, and they don't want to give them up now.
this is the thing that okay, in Ukraine, it appears that they've found their weak spot where the whole offensive can counteroffensive can go through. And once they start that, then I mean, I saw a video where there were Challenger tanks in action. I believe they were Challengers because they were firing twice as fast as the Russian auto-loaded tanks. They use a mechanical loader, and it's much slower than a manual loader for a tank. And
Hmm.
so they were using what appeared to be Challengers. I don't think they were Leopards, and they were blowing the hell out of Russians in this one town that they were not expected to take, but they did take it. So
Oh, that is in Zaporizhia Blast.
yes, all of the Western media outlets that claim that the counteroffensive had failed are now claiming that it's a raging success. Um, and the same thing is happening to the Democratic
Yeah.
Party.
If for people who are watching this and may not know what you're talking about, the Ukrainians advanced almost 15 miles
Yes,
in the Zaporizhia Blast, and they are now within 40 clicks of Mariupol.
yeah, and
It's weird.
well, this is the thing. See, they chipped away at it, and the same thing has happened to the Democrats. The first domino to fall was the refusal, the enforced um, indoctrination of children into non-binary sexual issues.
Yes.
That that was too far. And then the next plank to fall, the next domino, was gun control, just as you said, because now too many leftists own guns to want to give them up,
Yes.
and this is going to
And,
keep
and
on.
and courtesy of the Democrats, they need them too.
Exactly. And this is going to keep happening all the way up to the election. More and more dominoes are going to fall. And, you know, the political landscape will be different than it is right
Yeah.
now, but it'll be more favorable for the Republicans because, as you pointed out, gas prices are going to go up and stay just in
Yeah.
time.
I pointed out to you on a private conversation.
Yeah.
Uh, Folks are not privy to this. That we were having a conversation with Thomas this week, and I pointed out that there is a bottleneck in refining capacity again. Gas prices have begun to go up. They might jolly well reach an average nationwide of $4 per gallon, and it's going to stay there for a few months, uh, which is going to mean, like a little bit of inflation going up in time for the holidays,
Yep.
which it's going to do wonders for all the hullabaloo that Democrats are making about Bidenomics.
Which there is no such thing. There's no such
I
thing as
know.
Biden. It doesn't. And it's okay. The title of this talk. We're giving talks, Saul. No, the title of our
Yes, this
no,
lecture.
no, we're not lecturing. We're not doing anything. The title of this conversation is hyper
There you
exaggeration,
are.
referring to the Russian supersonic, hypersonic missiles, and now the Iranians have announced that they have one. The Chinese have always said they had one. The top speed of those things is around Mach 6.
Yes.
Um, our missile interceptor, Mach 6 is what, 4,500 miles per hour?
Um, oh God, I think it's more. Hold on, just 1 second. Uh,
What's a Mach converter?
yeah, that's what I'm doing. I went the other way around, but
Mach converter
Okay, 767 miles per hour
times 6 is
is the speed of sound. So Mach 6 would be, uh, uh, you know, 40
7 times.
some hundred.
Yeah, yeah. So let's be really
Uh,
generous. Say
4,094 miles per hour, says Council of Carahoo, as
right.
far as they
So
use
let's
the
say that
converters.
the Chinese and the Russians and the Iranians can do 4,500 miles an hour. We have the anti-ballistic missile defense system, and our interceptors do 17,000 miles per hour.
Yeah, but they're not hypersonic.
What would you? I mean, they're beyond hypersonic. They go 3 times the
They're out
speed.
of this fucking world.
Yeah. So it's
To the Russians and the Iranians, this is tantamount to alien technology.
exactly. And okay, the Russians are scoring their occasional hits with their hypersonic missiles, but like the idiots they are, they're using all of these to kill civilians, which they've been doing for over a year now.
Right.
And the giant brained plan is to break the Ukrainians' will to fight. Not
Yeah.
working.
No. Well, I'm beginning to believe that the Muscovites' will to fight will begin to crumble soon. Uh, but the thing is, for crying out loud, the Ukrainians have shot down 20, 20 of the Star hypersonic missiles of the Russians. 20. The Russians, by the way, can produce 100 missiles per month, including 2 or 3 of these, and they're losing them at a faster rate.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about throwing them or shooting them. I'm talking about losing them.
yeah,
And of course, you take a look, and when the Ukrainians hit something, they blow up a factory of war material, a weapons depot, a fuel depot,
troop
um,
concentration.
troop concentrations, the Hair Bridge, which now they've taken a taste to it. They're bombing it almost every other day. Just a few hours before we started this conversation, they landed 2 missiles into the Hair Bridge again. And at first, the Russians said, you missed. And now it turns out, no, they did not miss. I have videos for that for later, but I can't show them while we are in YouTube. Um, so the thing is, the Ukrainians hit military targets. The Russians hit kindergartens, hospitals, uh,
Churches.
churches. Um, the Russians cannot take down the missiles thrown by the Ukrainians, the Storm Shadows and company. But the Ukrainians can shoot down the Russian hypersonic missiles using Patriot missiles. Patriot missiles don't do 17,000 miles an hour. They're more
No,
conventional than that. And for crying out loud, a Patriot battery can take down their so-called hypersonic missile?
well, the drones that are hitting Moscow were built by private citizens in Ukraine. You've
Yes,
probably seen them. It's a canard design. It looks like an aircraft flying backward, basically.
yes.
And um, these things, I mean, they're very effective, but the Russian air defense system in Moscow is incapable of taking them down.
No. And they have to fly like 500 miles before they get to target.
And they're hitting exactly where they were aimed. Like the what was it? The Ministry of Economics or whatever was on a certain floor in a civilian apartment complex.
And that's what they hit. They hit that floor.
What they hit. So
They hit that floor.
I
Mm.
the it's just really, I mean, Tim pointed this out years and years ago, is that people love to speak in absolutes now. And they didn't when I was growing up, when we were growing up, but now they speak in absolutes. I mentioned the guy's name before he went on the air. I'm not going to mention his name, um, but he was on a podcast, and this is a guy who doesn't know anything about anything. And he said World War III is inevitable because the U.S. defense contractors are pushing for it. And as we all know, the defense contractors are um, they're the most profitable industries in the country. Well, you and I decided to look that up. And
Yeah.
before we get into the companies, I want to go over the most. It's just really quick. The 15 most profitable industries in 2023, according to Small Business Trends. Okay, so this will take just a short time. Number one, accounting, tax preparation, bookkeeping, and payroll services. Number two, legal services. Number three, oil and gas extraction. Number four, commercial and industrial machinery and equipment rental and leasing. Number five, dentistry. Number six, renters of real estate. Number seven, physicians. Number eight, real estate agents and real estate brokers. Number nine, other health practitioners. Number 10, managers of companies and enterprises, so management. Number 11, outpatient care centers. Number 12, schools and instruction. Imagine that. Number 13, activities related to real estate. Number 14, death care services. And number 15, support activities for mining. No defense contractors in that list. And
No,
then you
but
found
but
some.
but you can go. Yeah, you can go to say the 100 largest companies by market cap,
Yep.
not by revenues, but by market cap. However, they generally are correlated somehow. These are the 100 largest companies in the US per market cap, that is, per value of the entire company, or value of the totality of shares in that company. And there we are. And what do we have? Number one, two, and three is high tech, or tech companies, Apple, Microsoft, and Google. Uh, Number four is Amazon, which I'm not sure whether it is a retailer or a tech company anymore, because it's both. Number four, Nvidia.
Okay. Now, the first five trillion, 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 trillion.
Oh yeah, well, more, because 2.8 trillion, 2.4 trillion, 1.6 trillion, right?
Right. Okay, let's
Uh,
now go. Let's go all the way down to the
Now,
first contractor.
to find the first defense industry here, we have to go into the 60s, and that would be Raytheon, which of course has a very large civilian component as well. But Raytheon, which among other things would be doing the guidance systems for these missiles, is number 62, and the market cap is 126 billion.
Billion. All right.
Billion. Now compare
General.
that to 3.7 trillion, for crying out loud.
Right.
General
So
Electric General
120.
Electric makes engines for military planes and all the jazz, but it's hardly a defense contractor. It is a conglomerate that makes all kinds of shit.
Let's throw it in. Let's throw it in. Let's
Let's
add
throw it
that.
in. Although 80% of their business will not be military related, 124 billion. Then we have American Express, Charles Schwab, Booking.com, to book
Okay.
for cheap hotels, Applied Materials, Starbucks, and finally, number 70, Lockheed Martin, 114 billion.
Right.
Now, let me see if there is another one. Surgical, data processing, financial, AT&T. Gilead is a pharmaceutical. TJX, if you want to buy cheap brand names uh, out there. CVS, analog devices, pharmaceuticals, Regeneron, Uber. Look at that. Uber is larger than most defense industries. Yeah, ha, 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 ha. Slumberger, holy crap. I can't find another one.
Right.
So out of 100, we have three. The three
Added to,
combined are less than 10% of the market value of Apple.
yep, yep.
And these are the behemoths that control everything.
Yeah. No, I mean, nobody controls the country except for the government. And this is what people absolutely refuse to understand is that the government controls everything. Now, it's possible to bribe politicians, but they still control things. We don't go to war because Raytheon and Lockheed Martin want us to go to war. We go to war because there's a political reason. Bismarck, Clausewitz,
I'll
or
say because there is a national security interest.
yeah,
Now,
one of the
people,
Germans said war is politics by another
oh,
means.
it is a continuation of politics by another means that was von Clausewitz.
Who?
Von Clausewitz.
Okay, Clausewitz. So
Von Clausewitz was war is a continuation of politics by other means.
right, so national security has to do with geopolitics. So in
Yeah, and
the
and he also meant, by the way, that resolution to a war, short of total defeat, it can only be achieved through political means.
right, so the politicians control the country, and
Yes,
anybody who says otherwise is not paying attention. Um, you can bribe individual politicians, but um, ask Donald Trump if defense contractors control the country. You know, um, he's not being put on trial by defense contractors. He's being put on trial by a corrupt special what prosecutor, special what is Jack Smith? What's his official title?
okay,
Independent
he's a special counsel.
special counsel. Okay,
SC.
okay. Jack Smith is he was chosen because he's a lackey. He's
Yeah,
a an incompetent but very loyal lackey, and
yes.
um, he will turn out, in my opinion, will turn out to have been Trump's best friend in this election season because
Long term, I think so.
yeah,
Because he's gonna fuck it up like he always did. The problem is that sometimes the justice system being what it is, it takes years for the fuck up to be fully realized. When he went after McDonnell, the governor of Virginia, he even managed to convict uh, uh, Governor McDonnell of crimes that weren't in the books and crimes he didn't commit. By the time the Supreme Court 9-0 vacated the whole thing, uh, several years have passed.
yeah. But Trump isn't even going to go to trial. We both
No, no, no. Or he might, but it's going to be in fucking limbo until after his presidency.
yeah, and then after I mean it's we all know it's crap. Everybody knows it's crap. He's not fooling anybody. What's going to happen this time around is if Democrats are so far gone that they can't bring themselves to vote for Trump, they're just not going to show up, or they're going to do something like vote for Cornel West. Now, in the states where Cornel West is likely to qualify, he splits the Democratic vote enough that Trump wins. So, you know, it's not RFK Jr. who's the big spoiler; it's Cornel West, and
Hmm.
you know that's why they're doing everything in their power to try and get him not to run.
No,
Ron,
RFK Jr. is like a Russian missile. He
yeah,
either explodes on liftoff or soon after.
yeah, or he hits the wrong target. I mean, he can't control his mouth. He can't
No,
control, you know, um, his weird muscle boy posing. I mean, it's very strange. And one by one, you know, people are going to come around to Trump. I mean, God, he's got the conservatives on his side, and he's got enough of the independents in the middle. You know,
listen.
they're leaning
People are
conservative.
going to get Many people are going to get to the conclusion that he may be nuts, but at least he's not a thief.
Yeah, and you know, he's not nuts. He's there's
No, no, I'm telling you, people may come to the conclusion he may be nuts, but he's not a thief.
yeah.
I don't think he's nuts either. But
This Biden
it,
stuff isn't going away.
no,
You know,
let me do something. Let me take us out of YouTube so I can show you a video
okay,
of Jake Tapper. Jake
yep,
Tapper, your favorite ink shitter on TV, who is precisely now, uh, I believe, giving us proof that the Democratic Party is abandoned the Bidens.
yep.
Yeah. Now, bye bye, you boob. Say goodbye. Don't forget to come to Odyssey. The link is there.